Today, women are still challenged by inequality in all spheres, including the workplace. But progress is being made, particularly so because women's human rights activists now have 3 notable frameworks that they can draw upon to promote gender equality when dealing with corporations or businesses. The first of the 3 frameworks is the Convention on the Elimination on All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. CEDAW was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1979 and came into force in 1981. To date, 188 countries have ratified CEDAW, signalling their acceptance of adhering to the principles and standards set for the advancement of women's human rights. CEDAW provides the basis for realizing equality between women and men by ensuring women receive equal access, opportunities, and benefits in both private and public life. CEDAW places this obligation onto the state. Importantly, CEDAW covers all sectors and both public and private actors, meaning the state is obligated to protect women from discrimination even if it is at the hands of private actors such as businesses and corporations. This was taken a step further by UN Special Representative John Ruggie, whose Protect, Respect and Remedy framework was unanimously endorsed by the UN Human Rights Council in June 2011. This framework is generally known as the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights, or UNGP. It states the practical steps that states must take to meet their obligation to protect human rights. Together, CEDAW and UNGP safeguard human rights and offer greater protection for women, especially in dealing with non-state actors such as businesses. Ensure that non-state actors do not discriminate against women, and guarantee businesses are endeavouring to close the economic gender gap. Building on these endeavours and further elevating women's rights in the workplace is the mission of the third framework, Women's Empowerment Principles. This framework is focused on enabling women to participate fully in all sectors and levels of economic life. The use of all 3 frameworks in combination allows for women's human rights activists to strategically engage with both the state and the corporations on the fulfillment of women's human rights. However, each country context is of course different. So the first steps should always be to identify the treaties, trade agreements and frameworks that the country has in place, as this understanding will form the basis of any strategic engagement. Change can and is happening. The HER project, which was launched in China in 2007, builds on the business's responsibility of providing health services and information by further helping to guarantee women's general and reproductive health. HER has now also been adopted in Bangladesh, Egypt, Kenya, India, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Vietnam. In 2011 to 2012, the Better Work Vietnam program exposed 9 factories that were heavily discriminating against women, specifically by trying to actively prevent pregnancies. Awareness of this provoked consumers and importers to demand goods that had been produced in factories where workers were protected and respected. As a result, by the end of 2012, 150 factories in Vietnam were participating in the program, meaning improved working conditions in Vietnamese factories were achieved. These are just a couple of examples of how gender equality can be achieved, but it starts with you.